athlete of mine and then a coach also. The same question was weird. Basically, in asking why I program certain exercises a certain way and why I teach certain things a certain way, I was telling the coach that I have systems in place and I fundamentally teach the exercises in a progressive manner. So once they understand this, they build up to here. So one of the first things squatting that I do is obviously teach a bodyweight squat. We have to reinforce how, I start from the ground up. Basically your foot stance, where your knees should be, where your hips should be, hinging at the hips, where you should feel, and if any issues, I fix them right then and there. So after that, obviously, I go with sandbags, bells, double bell, rack bells. But then I progress on to a barbell. The first thing I teach is the barbell front squat. So he was asking me why not the back squat. Understand that a lot of people have way too much flexion going on, tonic muscles in the front. Everything that flexes, I believe sternocleidomastoid, muscles in the neck, everything in the shoulders is, of course I'm going to be exaggerated, but they're a bit like this already. So you can imagine here getting into a back squat position, and I'm not talking about all, I'm talking about most people, a good majority of people that I work with, even if these are kids, aren't going to be able to get into a proper back squat position. So the front squat, from the clean position, not the, I don't know what you call this, but I guess the cross hand position, it's not a very effective way to learn it. The clean position, clean grip position, is going to help you facilitate and get thoracic extension, or basically get those elbows up, turn them scapulas upward, get that thoracic spine up and keep your chest up. And what that's going to do is help you basically keep your chest up throughout the squat as you descend during it. It also, that is tip number one. Two, it exposes a lot of weaknesses for me right off the bat. As soon as I teach them how to grip the bar where it should be, as soon as I start them descending, after a couple reps, I can tell exactly where they're weak and where people are tight. And it's amazing to me. Typically, some of the best athletes are horrible at flexibility and mobility, so sometimes. But it shows to me that they're really, really tight in the lower trap, really weak, in the lower trap area and the lower spine, or the lower erectors. And they're really tight up here. So that kinetic chain, the way it works down, affects the hip complex. It affects the hip, and they're only going to be able to get, say, something like that, and then all of a sudden, you see them just stuck. They're literally stuck. Or, better yet, that has worked its way down, all the way down, through the hamstring, through the calf, into the knee, obviously through the knee, and I'm talking about the tightness, through the fascia, and into the ankle, and they have horrible ankle mobility. So in other words, they can't dorsiflex or pull their ankle back towards their shin enough. So it kind of looks, I always explain to them that they look like they're squatting in a pair of ski boots. You know how like your boot is like a ski boot is like that big or something? And that you can't move your ankle that much, so it looks like that's it. They really can't get any further down than where they're at. So obviously we need to correct that and fix that. But we need to correct and fix that right through. And that is done through obviously foam rolling, stretching, and corrective exercises, which I give as homework for them to do. But then the other thing with back squatting, front squatting versus back squatting, they can kind of cheat in a back squat, say, I don't do that, and I teach them how to back squat, but they're still here, they're going to be here, and they're going to have to kind of good morning and get up. I'd rather teach them first how to keep their chest up, but the other thing is, they're not where the load is as compared, even though it's only, say, axial loading or behind you, to frontal loading, the amount of core strength that you need to hold that positioning in a front squat is tremendous. So it actually is, I'm working their core without them even knowing it. So there's a lot multifaceted points that I like to use when I use the front squat first to the back squat. And then ideally, this builds them and keeps them, I make them work on their weaknesses, I make them fix where they're tight, and I build strength at the same time, functional strength that's going to be applied out to their field or out to their sport, whatever it is. Ideally from there, obviously I'm not going to use the front squat forever and ever. I will change up the movements, then teach them how to box squat, back squat. I teach it through the box squat first and then going down further into a free motion squat. But that's basically the reasoning behind why. So number one is it helps me see their weaknesses right off the bat. Two, it makes them fix their weaknesses to get better, or basically become more mobile, and then fix their tightness or tonic muscles. And then once they understand that, they're able to get into certain positions that we build strength upon a proper movement pattern. That's the other key that I wanted to talk about, is you start back squatting and you start doing it wrong, where you're front squatting and you can't really move in a full range of motion. You're building strength in a partial range of motion, which ideally is not what you want, because there's going to be times when you're exposed to a longer range of motion within your sport or without, or whatever, and there you're going to be exposed to it, and it's not going to be. The other reason I use front squatting instead of back squatting, because I like to teach progressively, obviously, is how to obviously cleans with the barbell. The kids that are just starting out, when they don't even touch a barbell, obviously my younger guys and some of my guys coming up, they don't touch a barbell until probably 6 months, maybe I'm exaggerating, 4 months, 5 months in. But even then, I'm just teaching them how to high pull, because I don't want to waste the time in teaching them the transition piece or catching the bar. That's where most kids mess up, and me working in small groups, I've learned that teaching them how to high pull is more effective right now than teaching them how to catch. But one of the things is that you cannot catch a barbell if you do not know how to front squat. So what happens is most people get fine here, they'll get the jump shrug, power shrug right through, and then they'll turn into this. And you see elbows pointed down, their body's even a little forward, and they can't effectively catch. So ideally, I want to teach them how to power clean into the power position, but they have to understand where the bar should be and how to get into that clean grip before anything else. That's basically the tips and reasons why I always teach the front squats and back squat. This is Lou from Triumph Strength and Athletics, Triumph Strength Project TV, as you're watching here. If you haven't already, I ask you to please, if you like my video, please subscribe to the page. I'll put a link down below where you can head over to the blog and check out some articles I've written, some videos I've done, some other videos I've done, and there's a ton of free stuff on you there also. But Lou from Triumph TSA, so later.